What's going on, YouTube? Ferocity here. Hope you guys are doing well. Modern Warfare 3 has had an interesting life cycle. It started off as being labeled as just a DLC because it was going to have a lot of the same core mechanics as MW2. All of your weapons and progress were going to carry over, and it didn't really feel like it was going to be an extremely transformative game. It was just bringing in the classic MW2 maps from 2009, and it wasn't really reinventing the wheel. So a lot of people, right from the get-go, didn't like the game because they just felt it was a regurgitation of what we had with MW2. Now the difference was that Sledgehammer Games listened to the community's core complaints with MW2 and resolved some of them. Slide canceling was back, the movement was slightly better, we had a better perk system which really helped, red dots appeared on the minimap, and the game overall seemed to want to start off on the right foot. However, it was extremely held back from the beginning. And I think this all led into MW3 just sort of being underwhelming throughout the entire year. Yes, it has the best, most robust post-launch support that we've ever had for a Call of Duty game, but that's what it needed because it felt very bland and very forgettable for the first few months of its existence. And it was because of strong post-launch support that it was able to stay the course throughout its entire life cycle. This game would not have survived, and Call of Duty wouldn't have survived if they did not have strong post-launch support. It legitimately saved the game. Now, you can say what you will about all of the variants of maps that we've seen. You can call them lazy, I will. It still kept the game fresh. And because they kept the small map mosh pit so lively with new variants and new maps, it really did help the game's overall health. And I think that's a good thing. Now, I'm not going to look super fondly back at MW3 or put it up there as one of the top 5 Call of Duties of all time. But I think what Sledgehammer was given and how they delivered needs to be commended. And I'm normally the guy that's going to yell and scream here and find any avenue to be negative. It's been well documented. Sledgehammer Games was given a shit sandwich and decided to rise above it and deliver one of the most community-centric games we've ever seen. And it's not without its faults. I think we can all agree the campaign is more or less of a letdown with its open mission design that really isn't open mission. The zombies not getting the true support it needed, and Big Team just kind of feeling like an afterthought. I don't think it even got support past Season 1 with new maps. And that was all depressing. Even War just kind of felt like an afterthought to Sledgehammer Games. It was very clear that their core focus for this year were 6v6 maps and small area maps. And they deliver in that sense. And it does feel that they've set the standard now, and I've said this before, of how games need to handle their post-launch support for Call of Duty. And I think if Black Ops 6 comes out and does not do anything similar to what Modern Warfare 3 did, it will be more or less of a letdown. So that's going to be my core takeaway from Modern Warfare 3. It might not be the most innovative Call of Duty. It might not be the best Call of Duty, but at least what we got was a game that was derived from an idea to right some wrongs that were done over the MW2 life cycle. All of that arrogance from Infinity Ward, not wanting to fix core issues that the game had, Dead Silence being one of them for sure, and Sledgehammer Games basically just saying, you know what, let's correct this, let's solve this because we know the community cares about it. Red dots being on minimaps, like, that was something that Infinity Ward, for whatever reason, didn't want to change, but Sledgehammer did. And these little small gestures to the community were quite nice. And I think that, combined with the fact that they were given no time to develop this game, means that we can't judge them too harshly. I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt here. I'd like to see what they can do with 4 years of development, the same way that Treyarch seems to have 4 years to develop Black Ops 6, and see if they can release a banger, release something original, release something timeless. Because that's what Call of Duty truly needs. We need another timeless classic. It's been a while since we've had one. I would argue the last real one we had was Black Ops 3. Now, some people don't like advanced movement. I think that that was the game that was the best advanced movement game that we had. But to me, ever since then, it feels like Call of Duty can't get out of its own way trying to both modernize but also try to stay to its core roots, and it's not really necessarily working. There's some good games in between Black Ops 3 and MW3 for 2023, but I don't think any of them are going to be remembered the same way that those original Golden Era Call of Duties were remembered, or even Black Ops 3 to the majority of this community. So let's get back to the original narrative that was surrounding Modern Warfare 3 right around its launch, about this time last year, where it was labeled as just a DLC to MW2. Has it outgrown that label? Have they been able to change the narrative and steer it into a more positive direction where Modern Warfare 3 is going to be remembered for its own merits and not for just being a follow-up to MW2? And I'm going to be honest here when I say I don't think it will ever shed that DLC label, because that's how it still looks and feels and plays. Yes, it evolved the gameplay from MW2. Yes, it was a better version of MW2 with a ton of new content, but it felt like them correcting course more so than them transforming and innovating in any way, shape, or form. That's what Modern Warfare 3 feels like, especially with all of the MW2 content that is jammed into this game. It definitely feels like a better version of MW2, but it's not enough of a difference to really consider it its own full-fledged experience, at least in my opinion. I look at this game and I still see the blueprints for MW2. I still see Infinity Ward's grubby hands all over everything. The problems that MW3 has are more so a direct result of it being a DLC or a follow-up to MW2, more so than decisions that Sledgehammer Games made. And that's really the core issue that I have with MW3, is that it wasn't able to be its own game. It wasn't able to make its own statements. And that's where I think this game comes across as a DLC. And this isn't me trying to throw shade towards Sledgehammer Games or to the fans of MW3. No, I think this is a much better game than anything we've had in a while. But regardless of that, I still think we need to call out the terrible practice that was implemented for MW3 and how much it hindered the overall potential of this game. It would have been much better if we could have had a game in between MW2 and MW3 to allow Sledgehammer Games some more time to cook, some more time to correct some faults that the game had, try to improve on the bloat that was in the game. But that wasn't the case. And unfortunately, what it resulted in was Modern Warfare 3 being a mixed bag. Some good, some bad, some disappointing, and a lot of potential that just went unrealized throughout the entire course of the game's life cycle. So as we come to an end on MW3, this isn't necessarily setting the sun on a bad game. It's setting the sun on an experiment that, in my opinion, was a lazy decision by those over at Activision. And they should have tried to correct course at some point and not delivered us this game. Mostly due to the fact that I think Sledgehammer Games deserved better. I can't believe I'm going to bat for Sledgehammer, but there's certain elements of MW3 that really resonate with me, and as a result, I want to support them, and I'd like to see them develop another Call of Duty game and hopefully be able to have a full development cycle instead of just a handful of months to create something for this community. I think we deserve it as fans of Call of Duty, and I think they deserve it as developers for Call of Duty. So that's kind of my thoughts on the whole DLC narrative that started way back at the birth of MW3. But what do you think? Are you one of those people that thinks MW3 is just a DLC to MW2? Or do you think it stands on its own as a complete game, complete experience that has the benefit of having all of MW2's content being transferred into it to help the experience be fully maximized? Would love to hear those thoughts down below in the comments section. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.